Welcome to the epic New Zealand's biggest gap year. It's an adventure that Laura and I tackled a couple of years ago in which we had to do 365 activities in 365 days all over New Zealand. And this is day 77 and we're heading to Zealandia, which is Wellington's wild side. At the end of the video, check back in with me where I'm going to go over all the comments that you had the first time we published it. See you then.
Today we are going to Zealandia, which is only about 15 minutes out of the city centre of Wellington, and it is a wildlife sanctuary for native New Zealand birds.
So we are heading to the eyesight and hop on in the shuttle. Again, it's winter here, so we're the only one here one more time. It's just priceless to have all of those tools just for us.
We arrive and we see the predator-proof fence, which we saw at Mount Maungatautari. We just stick to the main route that goes along the lakeside, and along this route there's bird feeding stations where we can see the birds. So this is like the best route to take if you're just visiting for the day, you're not prepared for a hike, but you still want to see some birds. But sure enough, we can't miss the colony of shags that are by the lakeside just below us, and we just watch the shags just doing their thing. Now, it's not like we've never seen shags before. We've seen quite a lot in New Zealand, like even in Auckland, they just hang out on the waterfront. There's quite a lot here, but they're still quite an unusual looking bird, so they're quite cool to watch.
So then we keep on walking, and there is a big sign on the next door that we're going to pass saying, "Don't let the takahe out." So apparently those two takahe have been a little bit cheeky bastards and trying to escape quite often. Their population is about 300 only. Those one here don't seem to be too afraid. They are pretty friendly. I guess they're pretty used to humans.
Turns out the bird feeder, his name is John. He is keen to give us a bit of a tour during the rest of our walk. They're volunteers here at Zealandia, so he's obviously really passionate about the place and about the New Zealand native bush and the New Zealand native birds, so he wants to tell us all about it, and who are we to say no?
And along the way, along the path, at one point we see a little black robin, and the black robin are very small and incredibly cute bird. And this one seemed to be really intrigued by my GoPro.
It hops around, it's really inquisitive, it's just like looking at us. It was just like really intrigued, and oh my god. I keep saying this about every single bird, but I could just watch the robin all day. Back in the old days when the moa were, walking about, the North Island robin would have a look at where its feet have trodden because it upturns the earth and upturns like worms and things for the robin to eat. So that is why it's following us today, because it can hear our footsteps and it wants to see if we've upturned any food for it. I have to say, the birds at Zealandia have a very nice, indulgent life. Pretty good for them. I mean, they deserve it after all the hardship they've been through, coming close to extinction and all that. So, yeah, good on them.
Then we arrive at the first feeding station where we see some kaka, tui, blackbirds, and that's really cool to actually see all those birds in action and not really too afraid.
This is not a bird feeding station. This is a bird feast right here. It's just really cool to watch. And then there, and we can hear them all making crazy noises, and we're so close to the birds and they don't even care that we're here. We did not expect to see this many birds in Zealandia. Obviously this place is meant to be where you see lots of birds, but actually, yeah, we see shitloads of birds, so yeah, it's just a bonus. There's actually an exhibition in this building for Zealandia. It shows how New Zealand actually came to losing much of its wildlife and how pests reduced New Zealand's lands to very little forest left, how human migration basically affected the whole ecosystem of New Zealand, and that is why it is necessary to have sanctuaries like this for native birds. Otherwise, these native birds would not exist anymore. So all this is like showing us the information and showing us like how we can identify the birds that we see in Zealandia, and it's really good for people that literally know nothing about this place or know nothing about New Zealand's natural ecosystem. So it's really interesting and probably one of the best places in New Zealand to learn about this sort of thing. Tomorrow is our last full day in Wellington, so we're going to check out the city.
Alright guys, so as you can see, we got to see amazing wildlife just in the heart of Wellington. I find that so epic. In the heart of the capital city, we got so kind of lost in the middle of wilderness. I find that absolutely fantastic, and this is why Zealandia is always on top of our list when we make a list about the best things to do in Wellington, or you know, any kind of things to do in Wellington, to be quite honest. If you want to see some of our list, by the way, you can head to NZDT.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide, and on there is like all our knowledge about traveling in New Zealand, and it's all free to use, so here you go. Alright, let's go over some of the comments that we received the first time we published it. We had Tuan Tana that says, New Zealand is so beautiful, I would love to go there one day. So I hope that you got to travel to New Zealand since the last time that you published that comment. Or if you're not, I hope that you're still planning your trip and you'll get a chance to visit New Zealand soon. It is an epic country to visit, and I think it's definitely worth, you know, the hustle to kind of fly that far to get to New Zealand, because that's in my opinion one of the biggest hurdle in coming to New Zealand is the length of the flight. And that's why, you know, when we help people planning trip to New Zealand, we always try to get them to spend a little extra time in New Zealand. The longer you spend here, the more, you know, that lengthy and expensive flight is worth it. Speaking of planning your trip to New Zealand, one of the ways we help people planning their trip to New Zealand is by hanging out on that couch over there where Kiwi is over there. So what we do is that every Sunday at 8 AM New Zealand time, we sit on that couch over there and we answer all your questions about traveling in New Zealand live right here on YouTube. So you can pop into the live chat and just ask and ask for help of planning your trip, and we're here for that. If you want to know what time it is on your side of the world, because 8 AM on Sunday New Zealand time is probably Saturday evening for where you are, or even Saturday during the day, there is a link in the description of this video for you to find out. There is also a link to nzpocketguide.com if you want to check that out. Alright, let's keep going with some of the other questions. We had Fiona that says, well done, I'm a New Zealander and I think you have done a great job representing Zealandia. Thank you very much, Fiona, that's really appreciated. So yes, our video tend to be a little bit long and we tend to talk a little bit too much, but it's just because we feel that, you know, beautiful, pretty promo videos, there are a ton of them on YouTube, but what we like to do is to go over a ton of facts. So if you're in for the fact and over preparing and all of that, this is definitely the channel for you. If you just want to see pretty things, well, we're not the best videographers, so that may not be the best channel for you. We're here to give you the facts. So thank you very much for the feedback, Fiona. Your mama say, I think you need a longer intro. So I think that's a bit sarcastic of yours, but yeah, the first time we published the video we had intros that were a little bit long, and now they're definitely much shorter. And actually halfway through New Zealand's biggest gap year we actually had a different intro. I have to be honest, my favorite is still the original one, the longest one, and yeah, it's just that's the one that I love the most, but everybody has different tastes, and that's why we have multiple kind of genre of video online. That's the thing. But I do appreciate the feedback. Even negative feedback is very important for us. And the unofficial bucket list family says, cool video, we need to check out this place when we are in Wellington area next. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. Wellington has a ton to offer. There is the beautiful Te Papa Museum, there is the Weta Studio, you know, there is a ton of streets and cafes and everything. Spoiler alert, that's literally what we do during the next video on day 78. But yeah, there is a ton of things to do in Wellington, but Zealandia is definitely like one of the crown jewel of Wellington, so I definitely feel like you kind of have to go check it out. And obviously subjective opinion, you know, a lot of people are just happy to go to the Botanic Garden, which, you know, we do have a video of that as well that's going to come up. You know, check out some birds there, but I feel like Zealandia is such a step above everything else. Again, just an absolute personal opinion, and that is it. Alright, YouTube tells me that I have to tell you to subscribe, so if you want to do that, that would be cool. But what I would love for you to do is to tell us what you think in the comment below. It's always kind of nice. Also, if you have some questions about traveling in New Zealand and you can't make it to the live session, you can put your question in the comment of the video. And if you want to hit like, it's a great free way for you to say thank you to us for all our hard work. Ooh, I stumbled on this one. Anyway, keep traveling awesome. We'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.